What's good, YouTube? Is Coffee back with the hip hop news, man. Conway the Machine, Griselda. Always just can't say enough about how dope these dudes are to me, how much I fuck with their music. But something I've blogged on my main channel quite a few times, it always sparks a very active debate. Like real talk. Every time the Conway, Griselda, Westsidegunn, Eminem, Shady Records, the whole relationship between these cats gets brought up, people are always very, very intrigued. We know Westsidegunn's been gone. Benny was never like officially signed with Con and West, really. You know what I mean? His situation was different. We know he's off with Def Jam now, but Conway's the only one still like actively on the Shady Records roster. And we know we've been waiting forever for this guy don't make mistakes and all that. But anyways, Conway was just asked in an interview once again about, yo, is there issues? Is there a beef? Like, are you going to be off, Shady? What's the deal? Etc.
There's been rumors online, speculation that after this album, you may venture back to being independent after your tenure with Shady Records. Is that true? Is there any issues with Shady Records? Do you want to continue that partnership? Or
Nah, there's no issues with Shady Records at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful. Like I said, man, I'm just thankful, man. I'm blessed. I appreciate, everybody over there at Shady Records, man. From the top on down, Eminem, Paul, you know what I'm saying, Tracy, Mike, H, like the whole building. You feel me? And I've never had an issue. And I have no issues now. You know what I'm saying? And if that's where my journey in life take me to to doing more business with Shady, then I'm with that too. You know what I'm saying? But after this album, my contractual obligations will be fulfilled, and I'ma just whatever come with it. I'ma just accept it and be thankful.
So y'all heard Conway there, right? It's all good. There's never been an issue. All great relationships with Paul Rosenberg, everyone over there at Shady. When the project drops, his obligations contractually are done, and he don't, he's more or less like, I don't know, we'll see if there's more business to be done. I don't know. I personally don't believe it. I think he definitely will venture back to being independent, or maybe already has been in talks with, as we know, Jay-Z, the Rock Nation management, or was that just Benny and West? I can't remember, but there's just been all kinds of speculation and frustration and everything. But it's odd, when he was asked about it here, he's like, nah, everything's good. I never had no issues. And we saw when Westsidegunn hit up the Joe Budden podcast when he was officially done with Shady Records, when the Sunshine project came out, because that's the way the album, the contract worked. The Griselda as a whole album they put out, the Westsidegunn album, and then the Conway album. And those are the 3-album deal. When Westside's solo Jump Off came out, he was free to go. But it's just so crazy the way Conway still, like, this project hasn't dropped. I'm seeing, I know he dropped a hell of a lot of music this year, but the number I'm seeing is 5 albums or projects, whether they be mixtapes, albums, however you want to categorize them. But still, no, God don't make mistakes. Like, this ish is wild to me. I don't understand it. It's always been kind of odd vibes to me with Shady and Griselda from day one. You know what I mean? Back when they signed, which they do have an interesting deal. Every time, as I say, we've had a few debates about, is there a beef, or if not necessarily we're saying an all-out beef, but some frustrations and maybe things didn't go exactly the way the parties involved thought they would. Every time this gets brought up, people always mention the great deal that they had, the way that Eminem allowed them to continue to drop their independent projects. Like, we've never seen anything like this before. I'm sure, you know, y'all have heard all the horror stories artists have talked about with labels, the way they want to recoup everything. They want that ASAP. You know, they want the artist to check with the label before they drop anything or any kind of business they're doing. And it was totally opposite when it came to Griselda. These dudes were just dropping. Once again, Benny wasn't really involved in the deal. But they just were dropping all these projects still. They never stopped. And that's dope. And that's lit. But it was just so odd to see it took like 2 years of them being signed before anything to materialize to come out under Shady. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would see, oh, this project's coming, and I'd be like, oh, let me tap into that. Is there an Eminem collaboration and this, that, and the third? That's whenever we hear of new artists signing with different labels and stuff, I'm always the kind of cat that's looking at it like that. Like, whoever is on whatever label it is, roster, the artists over there that I really like the type of music they put out, I'm picturing that. You know what I mean? But things just always moved really weird with Shady and Griselda. Like I said, 2 years for anything to come out. And then, you know, these few times when they've been asked about it, they've said this kind of same answer. Like, nah, we're good. Oh, no, it is what it is. This, that, and the third. But come on, y'all. Don't front like we haven't seen the social media posts. You know, it all started way back at the BET Awards when they were nominated for Best Group and ended up losing to the Migos. This was back a couple years ago. I got a video on my main channel that can't be accessed right now. For those who rock with me and you're just finding me over here on the secondary channel, my main channel's all twisted right now. I can't get into it or access the content. It's all fucked up. But, you know, they're at the BET Awards and Westsidegunn's tweeting about, man, I wonder if Shady Records even knows we're here. You know what I mean? Just clearly voicing some kind of displeasure, frustration, my bad, y'all. Then there's times we've seen Conway get lit up, get saucy, go on live, and just basically say he's sick of, you know, having to deal with the stands and, you know what I'm saying, go kiss Eminem's ass on his own page. Like, we've seen frustrations, okay? I'm not trying to stir the pot or spark any controversy or anything like that, but I mean, come on, y'all. Like, for them to come out and give these kind of rehearsed, politically correct sounding answers, we know it's not always been like that. But I mean, when I say that, I'm not trying to diss them like they're backpedaling. I get it. They're trying to be mature, but we've seen it. We've flat out seen the frustrations. But here we are now. It is what it is. Conway's on a tour. I believe he's about to do some West Coast dates out there in LA. He's got his own Drumwork music. He's already pushing artists over there. A lot of dope music coming out through that label and whatnot. Benny the Butcher, like we just said, he wasn't, you know, contractually obligated to Shady the way Westside and Conway were, but we know he just signed this big deal with Def Jam in a couple months back when he was on No Jumper. He was saying how he didn't name any labels, but he was just saying there was like a bidding war going on, and he wouldn't say who it was. We know Def Jam ended up being the winner. A lot of people are seeing that as a bad move. I don't know. I don't think so. I think Benny's gonna shine wherever he goes. I'm fond of Def Jam. I think it'll be dope for Def Jam to kind of get put back on the map in a major way because, you know, Benny, Black Soprano family, everything he's doing is fire. And we know he drops a lot of music just like Wes and Conway do as well. But, you know, back then when he was on No Jumper, when they said, well, he wouldn't mention the labels that were in the bidding war, but they said, well, how about this? Is Shady one of them? And he says, no. At one point they were, but they're not. So, you know, whether it was the money or whatever it may be, he was like, Shady Records ain't the place for me. Westsidegunn, we know he's been off Shady. I'm not sure exactly what, you know, he's doing now, as I believe he dropped his last, you know, the Hitler Wears Hermes, you know, in that series. And I'm hearing he's retiring, but we've heard this before with Westsidegunn. I know he's got a lot of other business going on. His wrestling content, Fourth Rope, which is so dope. I can't speak about that enough every time. Like, I love how they implement wrestling into what they do. I think it's lit. You know what I mean? As y'all know, I'm a big wrestling fan. And jump in the comments too And let me know if you guys like the wrestling content. You are wrestling fans. As you know, over here on J Coffee Talk, we cover music, news, sports, current events, life, and much more. We cover it all. But I'm going to have a lot of wrestling blogs coming. It's going to be lit. And I don't know. It's just odd. We see everyone kind of doing what they're doing. But still, Conway, this project has not dropped. A lot of people have seen it as there's some kind of butting heads between them, or Shady don't want to let him go off the label yet. I don't believe that to be true, but I'll tell you this. I hope we get this project soon, for one, and for two, he ain't gonna continue. Like, you heard, how in his answer he said, well, maybe I could end up doing more business with Shady. I don't believe that for a second. I believe he's either just going to be back to that independent grind, which he still kind of halfway does. Most of his ish is independent, but he's going to, be back to that. But I think there, has been probably so many labels reaching out to him. As I said, the fans always tap into like, we have really good debates about the Griselda Shady Records relationship, like why it's just always kind of had weird vibes, why everything's always took so damn long. A lot of people have said this wasn't the fit for them. But at the same time, Shady was the one reaching out. They did amazing things independently, and, they were the ones that had their eye on what was going on, so that, it is what it is when it comes to that. But I don't know. Like, do y'all think he already has something lined up? Could you actually see him going back to Shady? What do you think would be a good fit for Conway? What do you think of Drumwork music? What do you think of everything we touched on in this video? And what do you think is up with all the delays with this project? Like, I really want to hear from everyone on this. And once again, thank y'all for watching. But you heard Conway. Everything's good. There's never been no problems. Do you believe that or what? Let's talk about it all. Make sure to sub to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Y'all, it's Coffee with another one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to sub, guys. I'm gone.